Welcome to Natural Recovery from Suffering, the Advanced Meditation series. I'm not even calling it inquiry because I kind of reserve that word for what we're doing in 3D inquiry. If you all are interested, we do work to get to the root of the suffering, the thing that in our bodies creates all the things that come and go in awareness, in life. So, as we're focused on that, I'm coming out here to the public and doing some meditations in a way that I don't do usually because we have a different form of inquiry with our work. And this is the way, what I do out here is what I used to do as a teacher. As you guys know, many of you, I was a teacher for 16 years. And for the first 10, I did things like this, videos like this. And although they're very regulating for the system, I found a spiritual bypass in meditation. I was living a bypass and got really sick. So I always tell people I'll do these meditations, but pay attention to how they don't get to emotional repression, and then add our 3D work in to get to the root of suffering. And if I can just say that, then I feel better about doing this, and I enjoy it actually. So let's get going here. Today is I'm okay. That's our subject, or that's our topic for meditation. We're going to do some inquiry and just resting and allowing and being. So get into a quiet place in a comfortable position. Do you guys remember the Stuart Smalley skit on Saturday Night Live where he looks into the mirror and he says, "Doggone it, you're smart enough, you're good enough, and I love you." Something like that. Well, we're not going to do that kind of affirmation with "I'm okay." I'll explain that in a moment. But look, the truth is if we don't feel okay, sometimes the best we can do is just rest and let that be there, right? Now, when we get to the root of suffering, we're doing better. There's more well-being when we do our 3D work, is what I've discovered. But sometimes stuff comes up when we're doing this kind of meditation that it doesn't feel like we're okay. And so we may even prompt some of that stuff up so that you can see some of the beliefs or stories that you didn't even know you were carrying around today, or that you carry around. And we're going to invite you to rest with those, and just like I always do. The topic is I'm okay. Start with, I want you to notice breathing. And when you take a breath in through the nose, notice how the air on the space on the outside, and you breathe in, and you notice that the breath is spacious. And so the breath on the inside, as you breathe all the way down into the diaphragm, is like the space on the outside when you breathe out of the nose. So we breathe in out of the mouth. Breathe in through the nose, follow the breath all the way down to the diaphragm, past the lungs, and then back out of the mouth. So do that a few times, and I'll point again to that space inside and out. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And noticing that the space on the outside is similar to the space on the inside as you breathe in, the felt quality of it. Just notice the space on the inside, and you breathe out, and then there's that space on the outside. Breathe in. Feel the spaciousness of that breath permeating through the sensations, and then breathe out. Notice the space that surrounds you and that surrounds all your sensations. You have your eyes closed, so just noticing whatever sensation is here. As you breathe in, notice the space around the sensation. And let the sensations or sensation be as they are in that space. Notice more and more space as you breathe into your body. Just the space around sensations. And around the body even. With each breath, noticing more and more space within the sensations of the body. And then breathing out, You notice all that space everywhere around us. We're surrounded by space, spaciousness. Breathing in, there are sensations there. We just allow those as we breathe in and still feel the quality of the spaciousness as we breathe in. There might be a really dense feeling body here, but there might still be noticing like a little bit of space here or there. This is just to feel your body out actually with each breath. And to notice how you feel and what you're carrying around with you. And then just breathe out and relax. You don't have to keep your awareness fully or intensely in the body or anything. Just rest and notice sensations. If you feel the sensation acting up or being uncomfortable, or if you notice resistance, just let that be. Just let the resistance or the whatever you're noticing, can you just be present to it? Bring it into awareness and then just allow it as it is. So we're going to do this as a reverse inquiry, so not as a positive affirmation. So I'll have you say, I'm okay. Don't say it yet. Just listen first. I'm okay. And so if it were a positive affirmation, you would just say, yeah. And you would try to find ways that you convince yourself like Stuart Smalley. But as a reverse inquiry, you say, I'm okay. And with your awareness in your body and just being present to what arises, you see if your body or something comes up to object to that in some way. And it can be in any way. So let's say I say, I'm okay, and my stomach clenches a little bit. But I just feel into it and I allow the clenching as soon as I notice it. Or maybe some thoughts come up and I just notice those thoughts and allow those immediately when I hear them or notice them here in awareness. And I stay with these things that come up and allow them until they just fall away naturally on their own. And what that does is it regulates the system. It shows us what we're believing, and it helps us to not identify with what we're believing so much and then just live more in the present moment as the presence. As presence, our own presence is what we're pointing to here. Your presence is what's aware right now. Presence is. So I want you to rest as that which is already aware right now. So it's kind of like if you dropped a pebble in the pond, that's the only thing you're doing is dropping the pebble. The rest happens on its own. The ripples on the water, you just sit and watch them. And that's all you're doing here. You're dropping this inquiry into your experience, into your awareness. You're saying, I'm okay. And you're letting your mind and body naturally respond to that. We call it natural recovery. It's natural, what comes up, whatever's natural. We're going into the body to see what's here. So, as you just rest here, feeling into the sensations of the body and saying, I'm okay. And then just listen. Are there any thoughts coming? Immediately notice that if there is. And stay with it. Just allow it. If nothing comes so far, say it a couple of times with space in between so that you can see if there's any response each time. It's like dropping several pebbles and waiting for the ripples. Watch those first. So I'm okay. And now just check into the body. Notice any thoughts. You're really looking here for thoughts though, because you may feel something, but what does that mean, that you feel something? So you can rest with what you feel, just allow that fully, if that's all that's there. But you might hear words, and then you turn to those and allow those words to be as they are. You're just aware of them, not trying to understand them or observing them is all. If thoughts aren't coming up, I want you to feel into the body and say, if these sensations or this sensation had a voice right now, what would it say? And then just listen for any thoughts to witness and allow. as they are. If the ripples, so to speak, the thoughts, sensations, or feelings just kind of diminish or fall away, you can say it on your own anytime you want and see what comes and allow it. I'm okay. I'm okay. And now notice. And allow what's there. And it's good because if we're not okay, it's like we're even resistant to these thoughts. You might feel it. So as soon as thoughts come up, welcome them. That helps to reduce our resistance to this, because this is what we believe. And of course, that resistance is our part of our suffering. So welcome the resistance and welcome what arises fully. And stay with what's there. Even if it's just a set of words, you're just quietly aware of it and welcoming those words that you hear. Some people might visualize the words that come up and then just sit there and notice them, like on a billboard, for example. You just play with it. Like if something comes up, you say, I'm not okay. I'm okay. And what comes up is, I'm ugly. And you just want to see it. So you just imagine a billboard that just says those words on it really big. And you just sit here as your own awareness and witness that billboard and any energy with it, and then just welcoming that. And continue welcoming the words and the energy until they naturally fall away, leaving only the present moment awareness that remains. And some people are saying, no, there's just a whole bunch of things coming right now. That's okay. Just let all that come. If you can just rest and allow it all the thoughts, hear them one after the other without thinking about them. Just like cars going by on a road. Just a bunch of cars, one after the other. If it ever becomes too much, you can always go to tapping on the forehead with your 2 fingers and noticing the sound and the sensation of each tap. And that can slow everything down, and it's kind of like a reset button when we're doing this kind of inquiry. Or sometimes when you say, I'm not okay, a big energy comes up. But this is coming from within you. You don't want to turn away from it. You want to be curious and welcome the energy. See if there are any thoughts there. Just welcome. See those. And allow it all. Just get used to allowing what arises. It's a much better way of relating to your experience. Allowing from awareness. The awareness that sees or hears thoughts. The awareness to what sensations are happening. You're noticing those sensations. And now just sitting here, whatever ripples are still there, letting those be as they are until, just like the ripples on the pond, kind of fade back into the pond itself. Whatever thoughts are there, if you're just noticing and letting them be there, welcoming them, they're probably going to start to settle at some point. And you can always come back to tapping if it gets really sticky and for whatever reason. And then I want to change the inquiry a little bit to show me why I'm not okay. It's like you're asking Siri, but if you just drop that pebble into the pond of awareness, show me why I'm not okay. If something came up, you're just going to fish for a little bit more. What's going on here? You're curious. Show me why I'm not okay, and then whatever comes, allow it, just like you did before, fully allowing the energy in the body, just very gentle with it. When I say allowing, it's just there's a feeling. There's nothing you can do with the feeling really if you notice other than just feel it from your own awareness, your own sense of presence. Or thoughts. You can think them, but you can also notice them. See, when they come up, and stay with them. Continue noticing them until they fall away. And then noticing as much as you can, even if you have to come back to watching your breath for a moment, that there is presence here, present moment awareness. Always hear things coming and going to that awareness within us. It's not really within us, but something to say. That's another story. Okay, it's not within or without. It's not, if it's the present moment. I'm just noticing everything arises and falls here in our lives. We may think a lot and it may look like time, but it's just thoughts. Future comes up and we're identified with it and we think we're in the future or getting there, or the past thoughts come up, but that all happens here, you'll see, in presence. If you haven't seen that already, you'll see that in these meditation videos. So, one more round of that. Show me why I'm not okay. And then whatever comes, and then say, it's okay to be that. Just drop that pebble in. Whatever's there, like it's a feeling. It's okay to have that feeling and just see what happens and allow all of it. Or maybe the thought came up, I'm not good enough. And then you just say, it's okay to have that. Just allow whatever comes. Fully allowing it for as long as it's here. These are the parts of ourself that we don't like. And we often bury or tuck away. So we're getting a taste of just allowing and seeing these parts and including them instead of resisting them. But we're including them in awareness. See, we're just observing and allowing. We're not thinking about them. We're pulling them up and allowing them. So, one more time, show me why I'm not okay. And then if no thought comes up, you always want words or pictures to come up because there's a mind-body connection around suffering or with suffering. So if it's just an energy coming up when I'm doing inquiry with you, prompting things up, then you want to prompt up the thought on your own. Meaning, if I say, I'm okay, and nothing comes up but an energy in my belly, well, I don't know. It's trying to say something, but I don't know what it means. So as I feel into it, I'll say, if this sensation had a voice, what would it say right now? I drop that pebble in the pond and I just listen and allow what comes. So you can do that if only energy comes at first. And that's called mining in our tools. Okay, so let's go back to, show me why I'm not okay. And then something comes up and your whole job is just to allow that thought that just came up right there. Those words, that energy, that picture, whatever it is, and just welcome it. That's your whole job right now, is just to sit as the awareness that you are and welcome just that until just that falls away without trying to make it go away. I'm not trying to push anything away. If anything, welcome it towards you again, because that reduces the unconscious resistance that's already here in the body. Welcoming thoughts is really helpful when you see them or hear them. There's a difference between looking at someone with an angry face and a loving face and a loving energy. You could say towards what arises, compassionate awareness. And then I just want you to sit here and come back for a moment to watching your breath. Breathe in through the nose, watch the breath go past the lungs with the breath down into the stomach or diaphragm, and then back out through the mouth. And that a few times where you're watching the breath each time. And I want you to stay watching your breath. And I want you just to add, this is just to help you kind of calm everything down at the end. While you're watching your breath, I just want you to start tapping with 2 fingers on your forehead. But I don't want you to pay attention to the tapping. I want you to pay attention to the breath still and let the tapping go on by itself without noticing it, as much as you're noticing your breath. Still going all the way down into the diaphragm each time and then out. Now stop the tapping. And then you don't have to keep watching your breath, but I want you to take a hand and grab an earlobe, either one, and then just gently pull it down and then just hold it there for a moment. Normal breathing, just being a normal self here, sitting or lying down, whatever. You're going to keep that going for a little bit. Hang on to that earlobe. Don't pull too hard, just medium pull. And be precise about that. Just feel what that feels like. If you notice anything in the sensations of the body, just welcome anything that arises. And then open your eyes while you still have your hand on your ear, your fingers. And just notice that all that's happening is the colors and shapes get added. The same presence, the same space that we've been noticing things in is still here. It just includes like blue and red and square and round and light. Just noticing and letting all that be as it is. Take your hand off your ear. And let's just sit quietly for a few short moments. And I just want to say a few words to you while you're just sitting there quietly. The contractions, the denser energy that kind of comes up, but it never really goes away completely, that's the trauma and emotional repression especially that we target in our 3D work. And our 3D work is our most advanced. We get right to the root of suffering there. It's really powerful work, and I haven't done any of that here today. And I said earlier today that the form of meditation or inquiry I'm doing here has a bypass, a spiritual bypass in it. Bypass means we're trying to use a spiritual practice to avoid emotions. That's here, but it's also everywhere out there in the world. You have to be really careful with meditation if that's all you're doing, because there can be a tendency with some forms of meditation to unknowingly keep childhood emotions buried. And science tells us that buried emotions are the root of a lot of physical and mental health issues. So you don't want to sit quietly with emotions staying buried while those emotions just keep producing things, suffering, coming and going in your awareness, including in meditation. Get to the root of it. If you become interested in that, you can also just stay here and sit with me when I do these meditations, of course, but if you want to go deeper into the somatic body where the root of suffering is, you can always go to the bottom, scroll down to the bottom of killaby.com, or you can, there's usually a link in the descriptions or the comments that will take you straight to this free repression test, which can get you started on our path, which we call a 3D path. It just means we target emotional repression, which is the root of suffering, according to science. Big root of suffering. Thank you all for listening.